You believe salt attracts wealth, right? But what if it's been quietly blocking it instead? 95% of people use salt the wrong way, and they never understand why their blessings never arrive. Tonight, we uncover the 3 mistakes that may be silencing your prosperity, and the quiet rituals to awaken it again. Salt is not just a mineral, it's a vessel, a keeper of qi. And in feng shui, qi is the river that carries prosperity into your life. But rivers don't flow when blocked. You placed the salt and waited for blessings to come. But sometimes, instead of opening the gate to wealth, that salt becomes the very thing that seals it shut. Why? Because salt doesn't work on command. It works on connection. In feng shui, everything speaks. The way you place, the spot you choose, even the time you forget. All of it creates a dialogue with your home's energy. And if the message is confused, prosperity doesn't arrive. Tonight, we return to clarity. We remember the sacred role of salt as a gatekeeper of wealth, and we reveal 3 quiet mistakes that may be blocking your abundance flow right now, inside your own home. Before we begin, there's something you should know. Among the 3 silent mistakes, the last one is the most overlooked and the most powerful. It has blocked wealth in homes for years, without a sound, without a trace. But once you see it, you can shift it, and everything changes. So stay with me until the final doorway opens, because the 3rd ritual may hold the key to your lost prosperity. You placed the salt. You set it down near your door, maybe under a mirror or beside your bed, and you waited for the energy to shift, for things to feel lighter, for money to arrive. But nothing moved. The air stayed still. The tension in your home didn't dissolve. The flow of wealth didn't return. This is the first mistake, one that almost everyone makes, one that no one talks about: placing salt without intention. Because in feng shui, salt isn't just a mineral. It's a tool, a silent messenger that carries your energy into the field of qi. But if you offer it nothing, if you just set it down and walk away, then what is it supposed to hold? Salt responds to presence, to direction, to clarity. Just like wind needs a path to move, qi needs intention to flow. And when you place salt passively, it doesn't guard you. It doesn't cleanse anything. It simply sits, still, empty, as blind as the silence in your own thoughts. In ancient practice, no grain of salt was ever placed without a purpose. In the temples, they whispered into it. In the markets, they buried it with prayer. Even in the simplest homes, they spoke to the salt before scattering it, like someone passing a secret to the earth itself. Because in feng shui, Mui hongfei de trang tri nang leung, mala de dorn dung cho tai lok di vao. So when you place it, without whispering your intention, you've placed a bowl of silence. And silence doesn't call abundance. But it only takes a breath to shift this. A single sentence, a whisper with presence. With this salt, I open the river of wealth. I invite qi to return. I choose to awaken my home again. Say it. Mean it. Let the salt hear you. Because in this world, energy follows intention. And in the world of feng shui, nothing flows where you do not lead it. How many things in your life have you done on autopilot while hoping for miracles? How often have you placed your faith into something without fully placing your presence too? Now you've spoken. Now the salt is awake. But the next mistake isn't about what you say. It's about where you put it. You did everything right, the way they said it. You bought the purest salt. You placed it with a whisper. And yet, the heaviness remained. No shift. No change. No flow. The truth is simple, but rarely spoken. Salt doesn't work if it's placed where chi does not move. This is the second mistake, one I've made too. I used to put salt in hidden corners, behind plants, under shelves, near windows that never opened. It felt safe, invisible, tidy, but nothing changed. Until one night, I realized I wasn't placing salt. I was burying it. You see, in feng shui, salt is not just a symbol of purification. It's a tool to intercept and redirect energy flow. But qi, tai qi, doesn't pass through dead corners. It travels like wind, like breath, like water. It moves where space is clear, where light touches, where life still breathes. And when you place salt in places with no air, no sound, no light, it absorbs nothing. It clots. It turns heavy. And slowly, it begins to pull the stagnant energy into itself, like a sponge that never gets rinsed. I used to think I understood this. I thought, just place the salt somewhere quiet, somewhere clean, and it'll do its job. Corners felt safe. Closed cabinets felt hidden, but powerful, like I was placing secrets in sacred places. But nothing changed. For weeks, months, I kept cleansing, rearranging, whispering, but the flow never came back, until a conversation with an old friend. Her name is Mei Lin. She's second-generation Chinese-American and a feng shui consultant who grew up watching her grandmother cleanse spaces by hand. No books, no apps, just instinct and deep, inherited knowing. One afternoon over tea, she said something that made everything fall into place. Salt only listens where energy breathes. She explained how her grandmother would walk barefoot around the home. Before placing anything, she would feel for where the chi was stuck, where the air stood still, and only place salt in places that felt alive, not silent, not hidden, not dead. Mei Lin looked at me and said, "If your home is a body, salt is a healer. But what happens if you keep the healer in a closet?" I laughed. Then I went home, and I moved the salt. The next morning, the air felt different, like something finally moved again. It wasn't dramatic, but it was undeniable. And that was when I realized, feng shui isn't about decoration. It's about alignment. It's about speaking the same language as the energy trying to find you. That's when I stopped hiding salt and started placing it where qi could carry my wish to the world. The consequence? Your home begins to choke. The energy grows thick, not dark, just dull, like something quietly falling asleep while you're still trying to dream. And when that dullness settles, wealth stops knocking, because the door is closed, in the places you don't look. So what can you do? It's simple, but precise. Find the places in your home where light enters naturally, where wind crosses, where the door breathes in the morning. That is where salt wants to live. In fengshui, these are called open chi lines, energy arteries that bring tai hi, prosperity, flow, from the outer world into your life. Place the salt bowl there, not hidden, but humbled. Let it listen. Let it catch the flow. Let it work with the house, not against it. Whisper again, I place this salt where life moves, where wealth enters, where chi can carry it to me. Let it sit there for 7 days. Watch how the light feels different, how even silence begins to hum again. What if the wealth you asked for wasn't lost, just waiting outside a door you never opened? What if energy isn't stuck, you just never led it through the right path? Now you've awakened the salt. You've found its path, but there's one mistake left, and this one doesn't happen when you place the salt. It happens when you forget it. Before we move on, I want you to pause for a moment, because this next mistake is the one I believe 95% of people make. Even those who think they've done everything right. Even those who followed every step. It's not loud. It doesn't feel wrong. In fact, it often hides behind good intentions. And that's what makes it so powerful. If you've ever left salt in your home, forgotten, unchanged, untouched, then you may already know what this third mistake is. But tonight, you'll understand why. It quietly blocks your prosperity more than any other. Let's look deeper. You placed the salt. You remembered to whisper. You chose the right place. And then, you forgot it. This is the third mistake, the quietest one, and perhaps the most dangerous, because salt is not meant to sit forever. Salt absorbs. It holds. It collects what you no longer need. The stagnation, the tension, the heaviness you were ready to let go of. But here's the truth no one tells you. If you do not release what salt holds, it begins to return it. In feng shui, everything moves in cycles. Qi flows like breath. When you hold your breath too long, you choke. When you hold stagnant energy, your home does too. Salt that has done its job turns. The crystals harden. The surface yellows. The texture collapses. And quietly, the salt begins to leak what it trapped. Modern energy studies reveal something ancient wisdom already knew. Crystalline structures like salt don't just absorb. When oversaturated, they begin to emit. And not all that is emitted is clean. Salt, when left too long, starts recycling the very heaviness you asked it to hold. Not maliciously, but because everything in this universe seeks release. And when that energy has nowhere else to go, it flows back into the walls, into the air, into you. Not because it's bad, but because you've kept it past its purpose. And the consequence? You begin to feel stuck, like life isn't flowing. Money comes in, but drips out. Work multiplies, but not results. Ideas fade. Opportunities stall. And worst of all, you don't know why. Because nothing seems wrong, but everything feels off. One woman once told me she had left a bowl of salt in her bedroom for 3 months. She thought it was harmless, a small thing, a background ritual. But over time, she began waking up tired, feeling unmotivated. Her business slowed, payments delayed. She thought it was stress, economy, burnout. Then one night, she found the salt again, hard, yellowed, forgotten. She took it outside, poured it into the soil beneath a tree, and whispered, "Take what I no longer carry." 2 days later, she received her first unexpected payment in months. A client she'd lost returned, and for the first time in weeks, she felt light. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe salt had done its work and was waiting to be released. This is what stagnant salt does. It doesn't block your luck in one day. It slowly dulls the room, the air, the chi, your trust in your own energy. So how do you shift it? You complete the ritual. You return the salt to the earth, to the water, to the flow, and you do it with care. Because the salt has served you. It has held pain, sorrow, fear, confusion. It has done the work that no one else could do. So don't just dump it into the trash. Hold it in both hands. Take a deep breath. Whisper, "Thank you for holding what I no longer need. I release you now, and I open the river again, then return it. To water that flows, a river, a drain, a stream, or to the earth, beneath a tree, into the roots. Let it go somewhere that breathes. In fengshui, this is how you complete the cycle. Energy enters. Energy transforms. Energy exits. What you release with grace returns as grace. Never throw old salt in the trash. It has served you. It has held what you could not carry. Take it gently, walk with it, and say, "Thank you for holding what I no longer need. I release you now, and I open my space for wealth to return." This is not superstition. This is alignment. This is flow. This is feng shui. In energy, what you trap, traps you, and what you release returns as light. How long have you held on to what you meant to let go? What energies are clumping in your space, just waiting for you to notice? You've awakened the salt. You've placed it where chi flows. And now, you've learned how to let it go. This is the moment the ritual ends, and your wealth journey begins again. 3 mistakes, all made with good intentions, all done in silence, and all powerful enough to quietly turn prosperity away. You placed the salt, but forgot to speak to it. You set it in a room where chi could not move. You left it there, long after it completed its work. These aren't just mistakes. They are forgotten languages. They are moments when our homes tried to listen, but we had already turned away. In feng shui, every grain matters. Every object holds a question. Are you awake? Are you aligned? Are you listening to your space as it listens to you? Tonight, you remembered. You paused. You witnessed the flow of energy that's been trying to reach you all along. So now, a new choice is yours. To place with presence, to cleanse with rhythm, to release with reverence. Because wealth isn't just coins or contracts. It's the hum of a room that welcomes you. It's the clarity in your thoughts. It's the moment when flow returns, without you needing to force it. So tonight, place the salt again, but differently. Whisper into it. Place it where life moves. And when the time comes, let it go. Like a breath, you no longer need to hold. I don't say these things because they sound good. I say them because I've lived them. There was a time when I placed salt everywhere. I read the blogs, I followed the steps, but nothing moved, and I didn't understand why. Until one day, I stopped asking how to do it right and started asking, what energy am I really holding in my home? Am I truly present, or just hoping something will change for me? That shift from doing to feeling, from placing to inviting, that changed everything. And that's why I make these videos. Not to teach, not to preach, but to quietly share what once helped me open the doors again. So if you're here, still listening, thank you. It means something in you is already moving again. What was the one mistake you didn't know you were making? Or maybe, what's one thing you'll release tonight to let your wealth flow again? If this video stirred something quiet in you, a realization, a remembering, then it's not by chance. In feng shui, even the smallest shift can open a new river of qi, and what flows in is always connected to what you've cleared. So comment below. Tell me your ritual. Tell me what you'll try. Tell me what door you're ready to open again. I choose flow. I open my space. I welcome the return of wealth that was always waiting for me to remember.